Hello and welcome to the Stronghold Digital Mining Daily Update. Today is Wednesday, July 31st, 2024. It is the last trading day in the month of July, and what a way to end the month, right? Stronghold Digital Mining closed up, I believe, over 10% on volume of over 1 million shares, and I do not believe that this was just some random movement in the stock price. I do actually believe that this is very likely linked to the pending decision that is set to come out right by Puro Earth regarding our carbon capture initiative and its ability to be listed on the Puro Earth registry. Now, you may very well say, but hey, wasn't the stock pushed down to like the low threes, heck, even the high twos relatively recently? Might that not reflect potential bad news as it relates to the carbon capture project? You have to bear in mind that the entire publicly traded Bitcoin mining ecosystem got like flushed down the toilet. And so shares of Stronghold Digital Mining sort of like led the charge to the downside. When I see a day like today where, yeah, I mean, you had some stocks doing well, some didn't do so well in the publicly traded Bitcoin mining ecosystem, but really nothing quite comparable to the kind of movement that we saw today in shares of Stronghold Digital Mining, that suggests to me that there could be something going on. Now, I know we've been talking about this for quite some time, so it's yet to be seen if and when we're going to get a positive result, right? A positive decision from Puro, but I do really believe that that is coming very soon. Okay, a friend to this broadcast, Dan, posted on X that in the ARLP investor presentation. Now, ARLP is, I believe, Alliance Resource Partners. In fact, I'm not even 100% sure if that's a company. Yeah, we've talked about them before very briefly on this broadcast, and I've consistently given a tremendous amount of credit to Dan for having pointed out the fact that this company, which is involved to keep it super simple, they're involved in the energy business, and they are, to some degree, involved in the coal mining business. They are also involved now in the Bitcoin mining business. And so apparently, according to Dan, because Dan has been following this company quite closely, or at least somewhat more closely than I have, thank you, Dan, he mentioned that in the call today, this was 2 days ago, the company, meaning Alliance Resource Partners, reiterated that over the next 12 months, they are evaluating a data center play. So here's a quotation that Dan provided. We've also talked about doing some other arrangements where we could be engaged in the data center world that we're considering. So there are things that we're looking at. Now, the reason why I really appreciate Dan pointing that out and bringing it really to all of our attention, right? This is like on X, is because, one of the big criticisms and critiques that I consistently hear as it relates to any potential viability of, Stronghold Digital Mining being a merger partner or a, potential buyout candidate, right, for any other company, is that Stronghold, right, its feedstock is mine waste, right? And Stronghold is involved in the mine waste to energy business. And a byproduct of that, of course, is electricity. And what do you do with that electricity? Yeah, you can sell it to the grid, but you can also use it to power data centers. And in our case, these data centers, mine Bitcoin. So one of the pushbacks I get is, hey, what company would really want to sort of be involved with an entity that's involved with mine waste, right? Which is taking this unused stuff that was left behind right at the mouth of these mine pits from, the coal mining industry, and taking that refuse and putting it into these purpose-built facilities, right? And, doing a process whereby like the overwhelming majority of the contaminants and pollutants are removed. And, we basically clean up the environment in so doing, right? I'm keeping it really simple here. But just the mere fact that you're kind of like combusting something is, creates an allergic reaction. So the argument is, right, for a lot of companies that are like, man, no, we just want to, hey, we want like nothing but solar panels, right? We want nothing but, fairy dust, whatever. We don't want anything that resembles, anything closely related to, combusting anything, let alone mine waste, right? Well, in the case of Alliance Resource Partners, here's a company that's already involved in the coal mining industry, right? So they're not going to really, say to themselves, oh my gosh, like what is it the Stronghold's doing? If anything, they may look at what Stronghold's doing and saying, hey, this is really amazing and very interesting. And they've already got this Bitcoin mining infrastructure set up. Hey, this is something we may want to evaluate a bit further. See what I mean? Like I think Alliance is particularly well suited to having constructive conversations with Stronghold, right? As Dan has pointed out. And hey, why would that be? Well, I mean, if you're already in the thermal coal industry, which by the way, Stronghold Digital Mining is not, right? We don't run thermal coal plants, right? What we're running are mine waste to energy facilities, very sort of different thing, but still, right? Close enough that, hey, from Alliance's perspective, it's like, hey, we get it. We understand what you're doing. You're doing something that's amazing. It's good for the environment. And you've got data centers that are powered, that are built, have 130 megawatts of data center infrastructure, the potential to grow that footprint to about 400 megawatts. It's interesting. And Alliance is a company that wouldn't inherently, from my perspective, be sort of like weirded out or, in any way dissuaded from having these, productive, constructive conversations with Stronghold merely because the feedstock to these mine waste to energy facilities happens to be coal refuse, right? So I think there's something very interesting to be said about that potential, and this is somewhat speculative, right? But that potential connection between Alliance Resource Partners, maybe, and Stronghold Digital Mining. I think any potential conversations, can maybe go into overdrive if all of a sudden you have a carbon capture project that's being listed or that will be listed on the Puro Earth registry, making that project transactable, so to speak, and opening up the floodgates for upwards of, tens upon tens of millions of dollars in revenue, not just, for 1 year, but for a number, many, many years into the future. So a lot of stars seem to be aligning, right, for Stronghold Digital Mining. But as I've consistently said, hey, look, the really big unknown, the big variable here, and the near-term catalyst that we're all waiting for is this decision by Puro Earth. That, from my perspective, I think from practically anybody's perspective, right, would pave the way for some really useful revenue to come in our direction, which is completely differentiated from the Bitcoin mining industry. So these are all very good and exciting things. Okay, my friend, let's stay positive, let's be great, and we'll speak to each other again soon.